Hi, Seth David here with another wonderful webcast brought to you by Nerd Enterprises Incorporated. And you can see here in front of you the big, ginormous PowerPoint slide for our upcoming webinar for bookkeepers, High Energy Bookkeeping, helping you to help your clients put the pieces together. We're going to show you how to build a practice. I'm going to show you how some of the techniques I used to start out with a business where I was just by myself charging $25 an hour, all the way to today where I charge $150 an hour, and I have a nice little accounting and bookkeeping practice. I'm going to show you some of the techniques I used in building Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, from having the right attitude to using social media to using the technology that's out there, and kind of bringing it all home by showing how I sort of combine all these concepts. And also customer relations, very important. How do we deal with customers? Who's wasting my time? Who isn't? It's important to know that. It's important to be able to determine that, because my business grows much better when I'm focused on dealing with the right clients. And the customer is not always right. Without further ado, I'm going to get into today's topic, which is the basis of it is calculating city taxes and understanding how to put a report together from QuickBooks that shows me sales by customer with the contact information so that I can subtotal sales by city. Now, you'll see, of course, as we go through this, that there are many other applications that you can use this knowledge for. So stay tuned. Pay attention, and don't fall behind. You don't need to take notes because it's a recording. So you get to watch the recording as many times as you need to until you get it, until you get all of it. I'm sharing monitor 2 with you. I'm going to show you a QuickBooks file. Now, I am going to go kind of fast for that very reason, because it's a lot to cover, and you can watch it again. So right now I have 3 reports up here in this QuickBooks file. One is the sales by customer detail. Now, this report does allow us to bring in something like the city into the report. The problem with this one is that, and where did it go? I just added it in. There it is, the city. The problem with this one is I have every single transaction. So when I'm looking at it for, let's say, last fiscal year, I have a lot of transactions that I'd have to sift through and subtotal in Excel so I could sort it by city. So this one doesn't work. What I really need to work with is I need to look at my sales by customer summary, which shows me for the entire year the total sales for a single customer. And now I have to get this, though, into a format where I can also bring in the city. The problem with this report is I cannot include the city. There's no option to do it because it's a summary report. It doesn't pull the detail, which means it can't pull from the customer database. So we're going to bring this into Excel. Let's export it, and I am moving quickly. I am aware of that. Just, you can pause and play. At the bottom, you'll see the timeline moving along as I talk and as the video goes. So you can stop it at any point and just click anywhere in the timeline to review it. We're exporting this into Microsoft Excel, bringing it over, and now I have some cleanup to do because the other report we're going to need is going to be the customer list, customer contact list. But notice what it does here when I have a customer with a job is it separates the job from the customer name with a colon. I need to get the 2 lists in a consistent format as far as the customer name goes, because I need to be able to look up a customer in the first list, find it here, and get back my city and state. So let's export this into Excel also, since we're going to need them both. And then I will go back and format the first one so that we have it set up exactly the way we need. The first thing I want to do is highlight these columns, double-click the right extreme, widen them up just enough so I can see everything. I know I don't need this first column. I'm going to need a new column in here. The first thing I want to do is copy these down and get rid of the total, and you'll see why. Now, I could write a macro, do this a little more quickly, but I don't have time to do it in this 10-minute webcast. So, with that in mind, you can always contact us, and we can teach you how to do that sort of thing. I also want to get rid of, at the head of each group, is basically a blank line with just the customer name, which I do not need. Moving right along here. Got you. Let's get rid of that. So we do have to do a little bit of formatting here. Not a whole lot. Just to kind of get it down. And I really need to only find the ones with the subjobs. That's where I'm concerned. So now let's go over here, and we're going to have the final customer job in this column. And I just need to say equals Concatenate is the formula that combines two items of text, separate them with a colon, like we talked about, and then grab the other job. And because we did an export from QuickBooks, Excel doesn't recognize that this is a, well, let's put it this way, it recognizes the column as pure text, so we have to fix that. And I just did that by doing a quick data text to columns so that it'll recognize my formulas. Now we can very quickly come in here and paste my formula down. Again, you can review this as many times as you need to later on. I'm going to copy and paste special values over the formulas now, because now what I want to do is just bring the rest of them over here so that I have one final one final column with the customer names. I'm already running low on time here, so do this quickly. This should take care of that. Very quick sort by amount. Compare with the total on QuickBooks to make sure I didn't lose anything that I actually need. Rename this column sales. Way up. Quick Alt equals sign gives me my total 37,423.86. Let's see if that's right. That is correct. Now I can do the last part, which is city and state. And this is the whole key. This is the key to the webcast right here. We're going to write a VLOOKUP that says look up this, comma. I'm going to come over to the other spreadsheet. I want you to look for it here in this first column. I'm using my Shift arrow key. Notice the highlighted range expands as I hold down Shift and press the right arrow. Now the city is going to be column number 2 in the box, and the state is column number 3. So first we're grabbing the city, so comma 2, and I always put a comma false, which tells Excel if you don't find an exact match, don't give me a result at all. So apparently, retail sales was just a 0. It shouldn't have been a 0. It was a 0. There's no, I guess that makes sense. We don't have an actual city and state for retail sales. Now, copy this down, and I've got all my cities, and I can copy the formula over one, and the problem with that is I need to set the B here back to an A. Had I made it constant, actually this is, yes, this needs to be an A. Now when I copy it down, I have to change the 2 to a 3 because the state was in column 3. As usual, or as I've been starting to do recently, I should say more specifically, I am going to make the exercise files available on our Learning Center for, usually I charge about $2 or $5, so you can download the QuickBooks file and the Excel file to review while you're watching this recording, which of course is always free. But that is how you do it. And now what you can do, once you have this information in place, is I can sort this by city, let's say. Right, so now I've got it sorted by city. Even better, I can come over here, I go to my data tab, and I turn on my filters, and now I can filter it and say, only show me the city of, oh, and look, I've got a typo. And this helps me to fix that, because I take the East Bayshore now, and I copy it, and I have actually one of them's wrong, so I can just paste it over there. That will fix this so that next time I show them all, and I guess there was another ESAT Bayshore. Find it. So the way to know that you've copied it and fixed them all for sure, oh, it's doing it by formula now. So now I want to paste values. That's why. It's still pulling the formula. If I paste a value, it gets the right spelling of the name. So now you can use your filters, and of course you can clear your filters, and really what you'd want to do for city tax purposes is you'd want to subtotal it. So you go to data, you go to your what if analysis here, and over to the right is subtotal, and at each change in city I want to subtotal on the sales. I click OK, Excel does its thing, and now I've got a quick subtotal. I can use my zippers here to zip this up, and this is what I want to take to my city, because a lot of times what happens is clients just give the total sales and they wind up overpaying their sales taxes because they just give the total sales and it's not broken down by city, and you don't need to pay taxes based on all of your sales in a single city. You need to pay taxes based on your sales in that city. And they usually have a lower rate that they apply for sales that are outside of that city. So they don't show you that on the forms. I know they don't in Los Angeles. You have to actually go to their office and show them the breakdown, and then they do the calculation for you. Kind of a little known secret, but it does save clients quite a bit of money on their city taxes. So something to think about, something to do. And as I mentioned, you can think in terms of how you can take the same Excel knowledge, exporting reports into Excel from QuickBooks, and you can start to see how you can use this in a lot of other contexts. So I hope you enjoyed the webcast. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you'll come back and watch another one. My email address is seth@nerdenterprises.com. Visit our blog at nerdenterprises.com/blog, and that's where you'll see lots more write-ups like this with great tutorials on how to do things in QuickBooks, Excel, and other things as well. Have a great day.